Hi everyone, it's Ileana and I have a card to share with you today. I'm going to be making this beautiful card using the Aeonium African Succulent from Picket. I think that's how you say the name. I am going to stamp it on a piece of Copic Express It paper. I have it mounted in the upper corner of the MISTI, and the reason why I'm doing that is because it's going to overhang the edge of the card. I'm just stamping it with my Ink on 3 Blackout ink. And I'm going to be using my Chameleon markers with the color tops. So what you do is you take one color that you want to blend and you put the color topper on top of it, and then you count a certain amount of seconds so that the color infuses into the other pen. This is in real time, so you'll know exactly how long I'm doing it. I believe that this is about 14 seconds. Then you just take the pen and you just start coloring with it, and then the color that you put on will come out first, and then it'll start to blend with the color of the actual marker. I think they call these pens, but I think they're markers. So you could see that the color is starting to change, and now you're back to the original color. If you want to do it again, then you have to do it the same amount of time if you want to do a second layer. But I usually try to do it so that I only have to color it one time. It does take some time, but then you're not having to worry about blending colors and having to blend a purple and a green. I'm not sure if you can do that with a Copic. If you can, just let me know. But I did this card in real time, so I did not speed it up. So you are watching me color at the exact speed that I did this card. So you can see here now the color is starting to change a little bit, and now you're starting to get into the original color of the marker. Now the color of the marker is not even close to the color that's on the tip. So you can tell that the green is pretty accurate, but the purple looks blue to me. You do need to make sure that the tip of the marker touches the color top, otherwise that the ink transfer is not going to happen. So now that I am on the last petal, you can see that it created a beautiful gradient between the two different colors. Okay, now that that's complete, I'm going to put this back into my MISTI, and I'm going to overstamp it with the VersaFine Nocturne ink. I'm wanting to emboss it, so I need some kind of a black sticky ink, and this ink is so dark, and it's really going to make the card pop. I am going to add some embossing powder, not embossing powder, anti-static powder, just so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to where it's not supposed to. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to overstamp it. You want to make sure your card is up in the corner, or else you're going to mess up. So I'm going to apply some pressure, and it is a large stamp. I actually made a similar card at the Simon Says Stamp Create, and I stamped this out. I made 400 cards or card kits, and I actually double stamped most of them, and some of them I even triple stamped. So I've used this stamp probably about 1,000 times, literally. So Picket Fence stamps are very good quality. Now I'm adding some Icicle, Brutus Monroe Icicle embossing powder to this, and then I'm going to heat set that with my heat gun. I did use the Copic Express It. I tried to do the Nina cardstock, but it just seemed to suck the color from my marker, and I wasn't getting very much of a gradient, so I had to use the Copic Express It. So now I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I'm just going to use a little bit of the lovely Lavender from Gina, and it's just a small scrap piece. I'm not lining it up. I'm just using the grid squares to make sure that it's centered on the small strip. So I'm not making sure that it's straight because I'm going to use my cut-a-line for the sentiment. I'm not sure which sentiment I want to use, and so I'm going to go ahead and stamp out both and see which one I like the best. So once again, I'm just counting the grid squares so that my sentiment is in the middle of the strip. I'm going to use that same Nocturne ink, and I'm going to heat emboss with some Icicle embossing powder. Now that my sentiment is all done, I'm going to use my cut-a-line to trim this out. I'm using the 1/16 side of the ruler, and I'm just lining up to the top of the sentiment. Now that I have it lined up, I'm going to drop my blade in there, and I'm just going to drag it straight down. If you have trouble dragging your blade down, try focusing on that middle finger up at the top, and then you just drag it straight down, and it'll help you relax, and you won't get your blade stuck or anything like that. But you just have to relax when you're cutting with the cut-a-line. Don't think too hard. It's supposed to be simple. So just line things up, drop the blade in, and just drag it straight down. And remember, you're just using pencil pressure, so try not to push too hard on your blade. Now to line up the sentiment, I'm putting my card back into the MISTI. I'm using the L-shaped ruler from the Creative Corners, and I'm just going to use that to line up my sentiment. So once that is in a good position, I'm going to peel off the foam tape that I've used on the back, and I'm just going to drop it right on my card. I'm going to add a few of the pretty pink posh sparkling confetti and use my crystal katana to adhere it with some multi-matte medium. Now for the inside of my card, instead of adding a sentiment, I'm going to use these double tip notes, and these are large post-it notes. They are cut to A2 size. Actually, it's smaller than A2 size, just so that you have a little bit of a border of the inside. So I'm pulling off 2 of these so the recipient can use this a couple of times, and I'm just going to line it up on the inside. So you can see that there is a border around the edge of my card base so that gives you a little bit of a frame. I'm just adding this on, and the recipient will be able to just pull off one of those and reuse the card. And then you have plenty of room to write your note in there. You can even stamp your sentiment if you like. But there you go. I did use some liquid pixie dust on my flower. For some reason, it did not show up in the video, but it is there just to add a little bit of sparkle to my succulent. Thanks so much for watching. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Have a great day.